Hello, hello. Me again. If you were at the WealthWave convention, you have already met me a little bit. If you weren't, and this video is being shared with you, my name's Adam Davis, an executive marketing director out of Utah, and excited to share this Lord of the Rings extended version of a licensing process. Um, I was talking to my wife actually, and one of my agents when this idea came out that when I was told that I had 10 minutes to share, um, my wife laughed at me and this agent laughed at me as well. And they're like, "Can you say anything in 10 minutes?" So I guess we'll see. I'm recording this on January 31st, and we'll see how I do explaining this in 10 minutes. But then this idea came to my mind that, hey, if someone ever wanted to reference this again, or they wanted to get, more of an explanation to make this video. And the prayer here really and the hope is that this is something that helps you and your business as much as it's blessed our business. It's just one of those things that uh, I wish someone would have helped, like genuinely helped me with earlier, and I hope this is a way that I can give back to you and your team. So let's jump into it since you already came to the national convention and part of this you saw. Wanted to just give a brief summary of where this came from, a little bit of a backstory, and what happened. But we'll do the commercial version since this is something you should have already seen when you came to the convention. So fill in the blank for me. More licenses equals more what for you? More licenses equals more what? Would you agree with all of these things? That more licenses in our team, in our agencies, in our companies, we'd be able to make more of a difference. We'd have more influence, more freedom, more licenses, more income, more families help, more promotions, more SMDs, leaders, outlets, all the things that we want in our business. When you look here, do you see a goal that you have? Is it SMD? Is it CEO? Is it EMD? Is it your $50,000 watch? Is it your $100,000 ring? There's going to be a goal on here that we all desire to attain, but we can all agree that more licenses in our agencies help us get to these goals faster. So in December of 2022, every month when you become an EMD, either Henry Usher or Andrew Schad send out an email where they rank all of the EMDs, and according to this email, there's 526 EMDs currently. And one of the numbers that they share on there is your licensing ratio, your your net point ratio, your recruit to license ratio, your points per recruit ratio. I mean, it's if you've ever had the conversation with Rich Thali, it's the magic numbers. So in December of 2022, this was the first time that we actually took a serious look at what our licensing ratio was. We knew it wasn't fantastic, but we actually, if someone asked us, we didn't know what it was. And so I would see this report and just kind of, oh, that's interesting, and put it aside. And then we finally took a very close look at it, our leadership team, and as you could imagine, we were not very excited, but at the same time, like humans do, we justified it a little bit that we were excited because it was 15%, which at first we felt bad, but then to try to justify it, like I said, like humans do, we said, well, hey, that's twice the company's average. Because according to several different things we've heard at convention or things, is that the company's license ratio is somewhere between 6 and I've heard 8, I've heard 9%, which is also not good. And so we looked at 15%, and going back to this is we had a goal as a team to become a CEO team. And so then when we know that these are the numbers, we start doing some math. So if our points per license number is 15,000, it was a little bit higher than that, but we wanted to, give ourselves a buffer. If our points per license was 15,000, and the goal for CEO is 1.5 million, that means we would need 100 licensed agents on average, probably give or take, probably more than 100. Always better to overshoot. So 100 or more licenses. So then we looked at our current licenses at 27 and said, we're going to need 73 more. If we need 73 more licenses with a 15% licensing ratio, what are we going to have to do? We're talking, again, this is December 22. We want to launch into 2023, just like we're doing, at this convention. And so we run the numbers, and 487 is the number that pops out. To get those 73 at our current licensing ratio, we're going to have to recruit 487 new agents. The company recruit to license ratio at 6%, you'd have to recruit 1,216 to get the 73. So for us personally, for our organization, as it says here at the bottom, that's the most new agents we ever got in a single year was 136. And that was actually in 2015. So that's not even recently. We got 136 recruits, new agents. So in reality, at that pace, it would take 3.5 years to get to the 487. And that's assuming we get back to the team that we had then. Or in 1 year, we grow 350% of our best year. And so as you could imagine, this was a little bit on the discouraging side. But as we all hear as entrepreneurs, is that an entrepreneur is someone who jumps off a cliff and builds a plane on the way down. The person that's, given credit for this quote is Reid Hoffman, who's one of the founders of LinkedIn. So we came to kind of an interesting fork in the road. We either accept that and say, you know what, I guess that's just, it is what it is. The numbers are the numbers. We could probably improve them a little bit, but it is what it is. In our business, we have to face that truth of looking at our licensing and the system or the process that we use. And so then it just adds a little bit to this saying. An entrepreneur in our business in WealthWave is someone who jumps off a cliff with a box of parts and builds a plane on the way down. So the question is, how random is the box of parts that I'm giving somebody? What does it have in it? What are the parts that are in it? And if I just keep doing what I'm doing and I do it with more, then option one, of course, would be to just give out more boxes of random parts. And eventually someone's going to figure out how to build a great plane out of the parts that they were given, which is definitely part of entrepreneurship. It's definitely part of our business. Is nothing can just be handed to you and everything goes perfect. There's the hard times and the trials and the ups and the downs and figuring it out and all of that. But then the better option would be to be an entrepreneur in WealthWave that jumps off the cliff with a box of airplane parts and builds a plane on the way down. We still have to jump. We still have to build the plane. We still have to learn certain skills. It is still being an entrepreneur, but how much better would it be if we were handed a box of parts that actually built an airplane? So option two then would be every person that is handed the box, instead of it just being a random box of parts or a box of random parts, option two then would be every box is exactly the same every time for every person. And we have come, in just the lingo of the company, is we call that a system. What does system stand for? Save yourself. Most people it's save yourself, but that's one word. And so I needed something else that started with an S. So here we go. Save yourself substantial time, energy, and money. That is what a system is. That's what a system does. That's how it helps us. That's how it benefits us in our lives. So here's what happened. We have that conversation in December of 2022, and we wanted to get our licensing ratio to 50% as challenged by Rich Tholle. January, we launch. We're excited. We're going. Where did we land? We stayed at 15%, but now we were paying attention. We are putting the box together. We start doing some things and on purpose measuring what it was doing. So January, we were ranked of the 526 EMDs, number 104. Think of how sad that is. Ranked 104 of 500 at 15%. That's just discouraging. It's sad to me. February, we jumped to 21%, number 55, then to 33%, number 26. For some reason, there was no report in April. In May, we got really excited. Between March, April, and May, I mean, again, 90 days. What we do over 90 days, the seeds we plant over 90 days start growing 90 days. It's 90 days later. Some of the first ones we plant start growing, right? We live in the residual of the activity of the last 90 days. And from January, February, March, maybe February, March, April, just the things that we'll talk about here in a minute just started clicking, started coming together. And in May, we hit number 4 and we celebrated. And, you know, I took who, you know, we'll talk about here in a second, our licensing coordinator and some people to, you know, a lunch, and we were excited. And, you know, 84%. June, we fell a little bit to 78%, number 7. July, we were number 3 at 92%. We got excited and celebrated again that we just, broke our own personal record, and 92%. And then in August, the report came out, and it was actually my licensing coordinator that noticed first that we were number one of the EMDs. And, you know, even though I'm the one who spoke at the convention and I'm making this, that, you know, so much of the credit, if not the majority of the credit, goes to our licensing coordinator, goes to our SMDs, goes, you know, to those people's desire to pay attention to what was in our box, our licensing box, that system that we were handing to everybody. And is it a true system? A true system is something that I can ask for and someone can give it to me without an explanation. It's not we do this and we've got this paper here and that paper there, is that it can just be handed, right? September number 5 at 94, which is funny, the percentage went up, but more people were doing better, apparently. October number 4 at 92, November number 10 at 92, and then just the one that came out just a couple of weeks ago for December, we were at 80%. And one of the things, this is actually a copy here on the right of the actual email, what it looks like when they send it to you. And two numbers, this is the August report that we were really, really excited about, is that very top one, the net point ratio in our super base at 92%. Our points per life license went up to 25,000. And then that bottom one where the star is number 1 at the percentage of recruits that get a license in 12 months. But then also we weren't last place in new agents. You know, we weren't, you know, bringing on 1 or 2 and getting both of them licensed. Is that from 2022 to 2023, the whole year measured, our agency growth, new agents coming into our business more than doubled. So what we really wanted to, you know, so there's the backstory. If you were at the convention, you already heard that. Apologize for the repeat. But of course, one of the things that people want to know, and now looking at just, you know, at the time that we've already, you know, shared here, it's going to be interesting this week if I'm going to be able to get through all of this. What I've kind of learned just barely, and we'll see how I do, is get through that first part super quick, really quick, so that we can get to this part. But thankfully, the idea was given to me to make this, right, so that you can see it, review it, just in case I run out of time when we get at the convention. I'm actually sort of nervous about it. Anyway, so thank you for in advance for how it goes. And so let's get to the system. What is this system that wasn't just, you know, randomly thrown together, that it was very concentrated, very specific on exactly what we wanted to have, do, create, build, make sure that it was all there. Okay, so it's a 4-part licensing system. Part number 1 is upgrading the interview process. So first is to have multiple exposures to multiple leaders. Where a senior associate doing an interview halfway through has his senior marketing director jump on, or a senior marketing director doing an interview for an associate has their trainer jump on, or another SMD, or an EMD, or a CEO, even if it's just 5 minutes, make the introduction, and maybe even as we hear from Bill Mitchell often, is that it sometimes takes multiple conversations to have it clarify in people's minds. And so we encourage, as it says, 3 minimum, exposure to multiple leaders, videos, the websites, books, events, a seminar, where multiple exposures. Okay. Next is that there's a duplicated or duplicatable scripted interview process where things aren't left out, where we don't forget to mention how much licensing is. We don't forget to tell them about E&O. We don't forget to tell them about training on Tuesday night. We don't forget to tell them about the event coming up. We don't forget things, where it's a very formatted interview process. As it says in bullet point number 3, is not getting so factual that we bore them to death with facts, but we're selling a big dream, selling a big opportunity like we have, but with the transparency of, here's the licensing, here's the costs, here's the investment, here's the platform fee and E&O and events, and here's what should be expected to be invested, and here's what should be expected with a time commitment. Then at the end of our interview, we have a next steps checklist that everyone that does an interview has, where they see the new prospective agent sees the checklist. They see that check number 1 is to do their agent registration or their associate membership agreement, that they're to do 5 character references. There's a formatted onboarding process, whether you're introducing you're sending them a PDF, or you're sending them a series of calendar invites, or you set up the Fast Start meeting and you have a physical packet, but something that is just a very formatted focus on one step at a time. And so we get to this point, it's like, well, what does this have to do with getting my licensing better? In my opinion, in our opinion, it has everything to do with it. It's getting it set up from the beginning, of setting some great expectations, where it's just step by step by step, and one of those steps is getting licensed. Okay, and this is where that process starts, is on this next steps checklist. So we send them the 5 character reference text that they read, make sure that it sounds like them. Then they do a 3-way text between whoever their trainer is, that character reference, and themselves, that then the trainer responds to almost immediately to the reference. Thank you so much. Do you have 3, great to text meet you. Do you have 3 to 5 minutes later today or tomorrow that we could connect? Okay. Get them into the formatted onboarding, the Fast Start process, the 8-speed filters, whatever the language is for you. And then scheduling right then at the end of the interview, their next 4 game plan meetings. If this person is going faster, it might be 2 to 3 in a week, but the next 4 are scheduled. If they're part-time, and we've got to do the next one down where we're doing a discovery meeting or the financial needs analysis with their spouse, then we may space out those game plan meetings once a week. But for sure, the first one is in the next 24 to 48 hours after that associate membership agreement is done, where we give them some homework, and then there's going to be some things we do very specific in those game plan meetings, where there's an agenda for each one. The very first one of the little things that we do to just start, getting them a little bit more buy-in, a little bit more exposure, a little bit more, in a way, peer pressure, but a positive peer pressure, because this is going to help them. It's going to help other people. It's going to change their life, right? So in that very first game plan meeting, we won't talk about all 4, but in the very first one, as it says, that's set for 24 to 48 hours after they get their code number, they're going to get some homework to keep them busy. But then one of the things we do in that first game plan meeting is we don't have them post anything on social media. We encourage them not to yet. But the only thing to do when we have that first game plan meeting is we'll have them update their work status, say on Facebook or in their on their Instagram profile at the top, where they'll just put financial educator, or just started working with WealthWave, and then they can connect with the official WealthWave page on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and see how many thousands of people follow it. And that's all they change. Because some people will see it, some people won't, but it's not that super annoying. I just started working with the best company on planet Earth. If you need insurance, blah, 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 right? But we've seen it happen. Okay, so then they're going to schedule their personal discovery meeting with their spouse. And then the last thing they do, and this is where the licensing specific stuff really starts, is they schedule a licensing meeting with a licensing coordinator. Okay, so to talk about the licensing coordinator for a second, this could be one of our part-time reps. This could be an admin that we have already that needs an extra, in the beginning, probably 4 to 6 hours a week, depending on the size of your team. Right now, it's such a cool problem, and I sincerely wish this on everybody, that because of what happened in the last 12 months, really, we're now looking for that second licensing coordinator, because we found that the licensing coordinator can really handle about 20 to 25 people in the licensing process, maybe to 30. But then it just requires some additional hands, eyes, brains, etc. Right? So getting a licensing coordinator. Okay, so this is step one, is upgrading the interview process. And what's nice is none of this is changing what anybody is doing. I would just encourage to add some of these things if it helps. Okay. All right. Step number 2, the 4-part licensing system is this licensing coordinator. The idea is, as it says at the top, the licensing coordinator, they license, you build. There's nothing more. Well, there's a lot of things that are more, but one of the things that has always been a challenge is, you're building and you're interviewing and you're doing appointments and you're out in the field and you're doing all these things. And then someone calls you because they just got that email from the home office that they're about to be terminated because they didn't sign up for E&O. And you're like, I swear I helped them do that. I told them to do that. I sent them that formatted email. Why don't they just do it? Right? But like, we feel bad because we didn't follow up. Or, we're bringing on 3, 4, 5 people in a month in our base shop or personally. And, we're getting some people going, and 3, 4 weeks goes by. And one of the new people is like, oh, well, how do I get licensed? And we realized that we were so busy with the rabbits that it's so sad to even say this, that we kind of forgot about this one because they were quiet and moving slow and weren't asking. They were just waiting to be told what to do. And we just didn't have the processes in the way to really help them the way that they needed to be helped. Okay. So the licensing coordinator, the focus is that you as the leader can build your team, not have to focus, especially once we laid out all the steps of licensing. It's overwhelming in a way that if that's left up to a brand new agent, well, of course it's not going as well. Right. So once at the end of the interview, when we click on the schedule the licensing meeting, it takes us to the licensing coordinator's Calendly or Motion, or there's, on Zoom has a calendar that you can book right on their calendar. We use Calendly, where it goes straight to the licensing coordinator's Calendly that he has set up a specific event on there for licensing meetings. And then as soon as they get that request from that new agent, that's what triggers all of the processes for the licensing coordinator to start. Okay. So second bullet point down is that's where the licensing coordinator starts their Trello card. Some of you are familiar with Trello. Some of you may not be. And so let's look at that really quick. So this is the licensing board that we use, that our licensing coordinator uses. As soon as a new person comes in, a card is made for them in the schedule test within 2 to 3 weeks. We'll get to that in a minute. That's our ideal. Some people can't do it that soon. Some people, but that's what we encourage. 2 to 3 weeks. So they get the invite to do the licensing meeting. They start their Trello card. They stick it right here. They jump on that meeting, ideally within, a day or two or three. And then they just have a checklist of things that they're going to help this new agent do. So what's nice about Trello is, we'll use Sarah as the example here. On the card, you can put contact information. You can put, what these steps are before the test, what activity has happened. But then what's really cool is, so right now, because she's in the first column, only the first checklist shows up. But then as we move her to a new column, testing in the next 7 days, or now she's passed the test, when we open her card again, new checklists show up of what happens in that column. And so that agent is able to progress through. There's little reminders that can be put on there. You see here, January 26th for something there, January 19th, 26th, 22nd, different things that happened during their licensing process, everything from scheduling within the next 2 to 3 weeks, to take the test in the next 7 days, post passing, setting up everything on the WFG site. They're done, but they'll probably need some company trainings, and then all the in-force work that starts happening, and then people that are getting into the securities licensing. And then we even have a board for people that are going to need to renew their license, because obviously we're going to need to renew it at some point, right? So that's when the Trello board is set up. As soon as that invite comes in, they meet with the agent, schedule their test, and then they're put on the Trello board and tracked by the licensing coordinator. Let's get back to this. Okay. So licensing coordinator, let's get back to them. So that starts the Trello card. So there's kind of different parts. There's the before they get licensed, there's the after they get licensed, and then there's the ongoing stuff. So as soon as that Trello card is made, we will create an announcement for this new agent on Canva. We use Canva quite a bit. So here's a couple of new agents. We try to get a professional picture. We reach out to them, ask them to send us a picture of their liking, try to get one of them and their spouse, if possible, kids, introduce who they are, put it on our GroupMe, and announce, this is, for example, this is Lindsay, Salazar, welcome her to the team. She is this, some genuine compliments. Here's, some of the goals she has, and she has her test scheduled for this day. So part of the licensing process. Now the team is supporting. Great job, Lindsay. Great job getting your test scheduled. You can do it. Fantastic. All of those things. Okay. So that's scheduled, and we're off to the races. So that licensing coordinator in this licensing meeting is going to first help them order their study materials. We use Excel. Excel lasts 30 days. You can use the study materials for 30 days, which I think is genius that they put a time frame on that. The licensing coordinator then helps them create a study plan. If they're going to take it in 3 weeks, helps them kind of space things out, because on the licensing coordinator side, they're going to set up 4 specific follow-ups regardless of when they take the test. If they come on board on a Monday and they're going to take it on Friday, those 4 follow-ups are set up between Monday and Friday. If they're going to take it in 3 weeks, those 4 follow-ups are set up between now and then. We found that 4 was the right number, where it's not too much, but it's not like kind of leaving them out there alone. But they're also getting overlapping encouragement, reminders, how studying from their leader. But what that does is it separates those two things, where you don't have to be the licensing coordinator and the leader, where you're able to lead and get them in the field, and then they work with the licensing coordinator on the licensing things, but also keeping those things separate. Even if your licensing coordinator is an agent, that they are not overstepping into the leadership side. If the new agent, we ran into this a couple times, is that new agent would start asking the licensing coordinator a bunch of questions about the system or products, or, hey, they're wanting me to, make phone calls. What do you, why do I need to do that? And the licensing coordinator trying to explain things, and miscommunication there, where any communication that has anything to do with building or going out in the field or anything, the licensing coordinator just looks at who their trainer is and say, oh, you got to take that up with James, or you got to take that up with Steve, or you got to take that up with Andy, or whoever, right? That's a question for them. Okay. They're going to help them schedule their test. They're going to get on the website. They're actually going to schedule it. And then that's when, once they have that date, they announce it on the Canva thing is made, announced on GroupMe once their test is scheduled. Okay. Ideally in 2 to 3 weeks. This one we also had to learn right after is we do not mention, hey, let's schedule it in 3 weeks. And if you get close and you can't quite make it, you can reschedule as long as you do it X amount of time before. Because what we started seeing is when people were given the permission to reschedule, they didn't take their studying as seriously. Some people did. I'm not saying everybody, but we just saw it enough times that we just, let's schedule it. This is how you get compensated. Let's not wait. Let's get going. Let's make this happen, right? Where we encourage people in Utah anyway, in Arizona, and where the majority of our agents are, is there's no pre-licensing requirement. So if they schedule it for 2 to 3 weeks out, but the testing material lasts for 30 days, we encourage them, if you get close, go take it anyway. Especially life and health. If you're a parent, if you've ever had a job and a 401k, and you've got some basic testing skills, you might be able to just pass it. You might be able to pass it anyway. You guys have probably had people like that. We've had people like that. In our organization, an attorney didn't study at all and passed. We had a banker that studied for like 4 or 5 hours and passed. We had a guy that listened to the videos while he got ready in the morning and went and passed it in like 3 days. So it can be done. So we don't encourage, we don't mention, that almost sounds harsh in a way, but we don't mention rescheduling. You just take it anyway. Have that be part of your study, because you'll either pass or you'll learn what you really need to study, because you've still got the study material for an extra week or two. And then go take it again. Go take it again, because if it's only $50 to $70 to take the test and you miss out on 4 hours of study, but pass the test anyway, well, that was time saved, money saved, or you only have to pay 50 to 70 to take it again once you learn exactly what you didn't pass, right? But then the licensing coordinator also, if it's needed, or it could be, a weekly thing or twice a week thing, is having a study course, a study cram session with a group. Okay, so the follow-ups are happening. They're on the Trello board. Then once they pass the test, the licensing coordinator knows when that is. They announce it to the team that, that the person passed, either in our, definitely at our training for sure, which I'll show here in a second. But they'll announce it on GroupMe like the second that they pass. But, as we're even talking, it'd be a great idea, especially if someone doesn't pass. 1 second, I'm taking a note on this. If someone doesn't pass, that's when they definitely need some encouragement. Not necessarily to announce on the GroupMe, hey, everyone, so-and-so didn't pass their test. Please encourage them. But reaching out to leadership, for sure, leadership should definitely know. But then reaching out to different people in the team and say, hey, so-and-so needs some words of encouragement. Give them a call, especially if you didn't pass the first time. right? Have the people that didn't pass the first time call that person. Hey, it's all right. No big deal. Let's get together. Let's study. You got this. How'd you do? What section do you need? I wrote that down. We got to do that. Okay. So assuming now that they passed, the licensing coordinator moves their Trello card, brings up a new checklist, is going to help them get fingerprinted, is going to help them order the license, is going to get them on the WFG launch and pay that extra fee, is going to help them do the AML or give them the instructions of where to go do it, and then follow up with them, is going to get them signed up on E&O, is going to get them on the platform fee, direct deposit, new agent courses on the WFG site, get appointed with the providers that you use the most, and get through all of that stuff. That I don't know how you are with that. I do not enjoy helping somebody know where the AML is. It just seems to like be that thing. We all need to do it, but it's like it feels like it kills momentum when you're going, and then stop and are helping someone get on E&O and they can't figure it out. And anyway, and then this is where we'll have them actually make or encourage them to have a social media post that just explains, I'm now a licensed professional in the financial services industry. Obviously, you have to be really careful compliance-wise with wording. You can't say financial advisor. You can't say this, that, whatever. So check exactly what those guidelines for sure. But it's basically making that just brief announcement, really professional picture, excited. Just got my initial licensing to be in the financial services industry or to be a financial educator or whatever. Okay. So there's that before, there's the after, where now once the agreement with our licensing coordinator is as soon as the person is able to make money, licensed, appointed, AML, direct deposit, all of that stuff is completely done. Whoever that person, the new licensed person, is direct to, and their SMD pays the licensing coordinator a bonus. So the licensing coordinator is being compensated to be totally frank, I pay the licensing coordinator hourly because I am interested in the entire team's success. You don't have to do it that way. That's just how I did it. Don't everybody rush out to their leader and like, oh, you got to pay for all the licensing coordinator. I don't pay for all of it. Don't misunderstand that. But I do pay them hourly. But then a bonus comes as soon as the person is all the way through the process on our Trello board. You may have saw that there was a part that says licensing coordinator bonus. So that moves there. Once they get their bonus, then they move to the next column. Okay. That has created incentive for the licensing coordinator to get them all the way through the process, not just get them licensed. Because there's not as much of a point in just being licensed, making money, becoming a net agent, right? Or net recruit. So then ongoing, think of how awesome it would be ongoing that you've got a licensing coordinator that helps people get additional appointments when a piece of business is written, that doesn't quite fit exact, product mold. They had a bad heart, and so they get declined by a normal term company, and you turn to Prudential, who's got some really good underwriting guidelines for term, even though they got declined over here. So, well, someone's got to help them get appointed. Do you want to help them get appointed? Direct them, go to AMS's website. Now you got to click on this and go to Reg Ed and do the product training and the NAIC training. And man, that just takes time out of helping them build their business, where they can be connected with the licensing coordinator, help them do the product specific trainings, best interest, NAIC, state specific annuity trainings, best interest, blah, 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 right? Non-resident licensing too. But then lastly is we get them into the license renewal process, where all of the agents that are already licensed that are going to need to renew this year or next year get a set of reminders to help them get their license renewed. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 1, interview process. Step 2, licensing coordinator. Step 3 is now as the leader, as the trainer, leader, SMD, whatever, is to help begin their field training immediately from the interview. So we don't wait till licensing happens. I know that teams do it differently. I personally do not agree with waiting until they're licensed to get them in the field. If that's a different culture in your team, that's totally fine. Your leader is where they are because of what they've done. But personally, I want to get some seeds in the ground, because there's a lot of families that, had we waited till people got licensed, there are people that quit after taking the license and not passing, but then clients were helped, families were helped that would have otherwise not been helped had we not gone in the field before they got licensed, right? So that's just personal conviction because of some things I've seen. Anyway, to not get on that soapbox, but beginning the field training immediately. Initial contacts are made in that interview when the 5-character reference 3-way texts go out. Those texts go out, trainer makes the reference character reference call. Tell me about this person, tell me about their strengths, what do you like most about them? Hey, they're, getting started in business. The 2 most important things is that people know what they do and that they're connected with different professionals in like but non-competing businesses, mortgage people, real estate people, attorneys, car insurance, homeowners insurance, health insurance agents, and having that conversation. And then the agent, once those are done, trainer connects with the agent, says, hey, those character references were made. That new agent gets 5 of the How Money Works books, writes a handwritten thank you note, delivers that book to the person. Thank you so much for being a character reference for me. Here's the book. Did the person that called you mentioned this book a little bit? Yeah, they did. Would love to visit with you sometime, tell you more. Thank you so much for being the reference. They didn't tell me what you said, but they said you said some nice things. I really appreciate that. And get the conversation going in a very natural way. Okay, then what we've done is kind of list number 2 is who are 5 people that they want to share the business with first from a client point of view, and then helping them get into the right markets, age, income, marital status. Okay, who are the 5 people that you just want to share this with right away? And then talk about professional partnerships, real estate agents, thing I said earlier. Okay, because getting out in the field, what happens is, in the beginning, for me anyway, the business it made sense in my head. Help people, make money, make a difference for others. Like, I get it. A, B, C. You do this, you get that. Until I went on my very first appointment. I go on my very first appointment with my sister and her husband. My oldest nephew was barely born at the time, and they were negative about $300 a month. Negative $300 a month. And through debt, taxes, and insurance, some different things that my trainer was able to do, we got them to positive $200. Well, having an extra $200 is not that big of a deal to a lot of people, but when you're negative $200 to $300, going positive $200 every month, that is a big deal. So all of the logic that was going on in my brain just whooshed out the window, and it went from here to here so fast that it became less job, less career, more passion, more desire, more of a calling in a way. And I could just see and felt, because it was someone I knew, right? Okay, so lastly, is the goal before they take their test? Because people are like, why are you telling me about field training? Well, it's part of the licensing process. To get more people licensed, our goal is 10 intro meetings before they take their test. Why? When they have clients in the pipeline, a lot of you know this, it's not like this is new. I'm not trying to be like, oh, this is all brand new and you guys didn't know this. You know this. There were some of the pieces that we weren't doing, right? It's like my kids. Dad, I know you want me to clean my room. I know I'm supposed to do my homework. Well, that's good to know. That's, part of it. But it's what I looked at it is we knew that our licensing was not good. We know that we're supposed to get people licensed. We know that we're supposed to get them in the field. We know that we need to make money. But what am I doing? There were so many of these things we weren't doing. Life rewards us for what we do, not what we know and what we think, right? It's applying. right? So the goal, oh, there's my emojis, my thumbs up popping up. Get them in the field with a goal of 10 before they take their test, because then what starts happening, clients in the pipeline creates a I need to get licensed thought process. I need to get licensed. I need to get licensed, or I'm not going to be compensated when these go through. I need to get licensed, right? And then number four of four, help them build their agency. We're getting them out in the field to build some clientele, and some will lean the client way, but then also helping them build their agency while they're in the licensing process. So there's the initial contacts. There's the 5 character reference texts that is very casual. We do not try to set up appointments with those people. It's just tell us how great this person is. Tell us how great this person is. Why would they be good at a profession like this? Give them a little bit of this is what they'll be doing. We tell them to give you some context, Mr. and Mrs. Reference. Here's what they'll be doing: helping people with their college funds for kids, making sure that their retirement plan is as tax efficient as possible, and making sure that they've got their estate plan in order. Do you feel like they have the skills, abilities, blah, 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 to be able to teach and educate people on things like that if they were put through the right training? And the character reference is like, well, yeah, they're great. And let me tell you about them. Let me tell you, right? So that's kind of a more casual thing, those 5. And then the next 5 are, these are the first 5 people I want to go tell this to. When I found out I was having a baby, I told these 5 people. When I graduated college, these were the first 5 people to know. When I got engaged, these are the first 5 people that I told. Those are the first 5 people we want to tell this about, right? We want to tell about this. We want to tell this about whatever. Anyway, so getting them, having those conversations, and then these specifically. So all 5, all 15. It's not a, well, do these, don't do these. It's 5 references, 5 people who you want to tell this to first, and then 5, if it were up to you, Mr. or Mrs. New Agent, if it were up to you, who fits the following profiles? Highest honesty that you know, integrity, an incredible teacher, someone that just wants to make more money, someone that's frustrated where they are now, someone that loves where they are now, but just doesn't make enough money, someone that is always talking about making a difference, someone that's always talking about doing something big, someone that's talking about getting ahead, someone that talks about wanting to, bless the world and leave their footprint. Who fits that description? They say, oh, I don't really want to get into that. Okay, great. That's fine. I'm the broker. I'm the senior marketing director. We do want to grow. Even if you don't, the very best referrals we get, Mr. New agent that doesn't want to build yet. Steve Jobs says people don't know what they want until you show them. Our agency still needs to grow. Are you okay if there's people, let us know. Who would be 5 people? Because we have the capacity right now to train 5 more. Let's at least talk to them. It's like, well, yeah, I don't really want to train them, or I don't want to build a team. I don't know why they wouldn't, especially once it's laid out of how to do it, right? But we get those, right? Get 5 there. Those messages go out. Hey, so-and-so, I was just in a meeting with my broker. He was telling me that we're expanding. We're looking for people that are X, Y, Z. As he was describing to me the qualifications and the characteristics of the people that the company's looking for, you came to mind. This is a 3-way text between potential agent, SMD or trainer, and the new agent. Not, hey, I just started. Hey, I'm brand new. Again, this is how we do it. It's been helpful. It's worked. It's definitely not perfect. There are definitely teams that are speaking on the stage at convention, could give this training very, very well, are recruiting way more people, right? But these are just ideas, right? Just ideas. So that's the conversation that we have. That's that 3-way text is, here's the characteristics. I thought of you, told my broker his name, his name is whatever. And he asked that I make the introduction. He asked if, he's like, I'd love to meet him. So this is me making the introduction. I'll let you guys take it from here. Okay. They're in licensing. They're getting out in the field. They're going and doing appointments. The goal here, Step 4 of the 4-part licensing system is to get them a new agent in the licensing process before their test date. Because now what's happening, if they've got clients in the pipeline and they're thinking, I need to get licensed, they get an agent or two, maybe 3, in the licensing process with them. Now they start to get the feelings of, I have to do this. I've got to get my license. I have to get this done, right? And getting those thoughts, and especially if it's building a team or they've got clients in the pipeline, if they don't quite pass that first time, like I didn't pass the first time. But immediately after my test, I had an appointment or 2 and already had people that I had met with. I was the bad example. It took me about 6 months to get my license back in 2005, which is not encouraged, but that's how we learn, right? So that's why we encourage people to do it in their first 2 to 3 weeks. So again, the hope here was to be, as I said, like the Lord of the Rings extended version of the more in-depth part of the talk I was unable to give from the stage just because I'm long-winded, obviously. So anyway, last thing I was going to show is that once that person passes the test, we've got a team newsletter, that talks about different challenges and upcoming events and things like that, that when they get licensed, we make an announcement that, announces that they've passed their test, whoever their trainer or SMD is. When we get to this part, Tuesday night announcements, we, make a big deal. We make a big deal out of it so that it encourages the other people that are in the licensing process to get licensed. So to summarize everything, hint, option 2 is better. Option 1, we keep doing what we're doing. We just do more. I could go and get those 470 agents to net out the 15 that we were doing and just do more. Just do more. But doing more of the same is just giving out more random boxes and hoping that I eventually find the right ones. Or option 2 is I give out the same box the same way, exactly the same every time for every person, so that in their entrepreneurial journey, as they jump off the cliff of entrepreneurship, at least they have box number 1 is a box of airplane parts, or at least a glider that gets them to the bottom the first time. So when they come up back to the top and they realize that licensing is just like, the threshold of the door they're walking in, that they're going to get, the next box of airplane parts, so that when they jump, they have airplane parts, right, that they can build. And so that's the hope. I think that's the hope of all of us. At the end of the day, every single one of us want to equip our agents, our partners, with the tools that they need to build the business. And guess what? It doesn't work out every time. Not everybody stays. But as Monty Holmes says, enough will. Enough will. If we're doing the right thing, if we're being the right person, enough will. I hope that this helped. I hope that my intention of providing additional information that filled in the gaps of some questions that there may have been, that this did that, that it helps you, it helps your team, because I would encourage you to go back to this math equation, plug in the numbers. You don't need that report from Andrew Shad to know this, right? Look at how many new agents you got last year on the WFG reports, points and recruits. Look at the total. Go to whatever list you kept track of how many new licenses you got last year. So, we recruited 80 people and we got 17 new licenses. Okay, so do the math. You've got your licensing ratio. Take your total points for the year, divide it by how many licensed agents you have total. That's on the homepage of MyWFG, right? You can look at your total points for the year, points and recruits. look at how many licenses you have on the home page, divide those two, and you'll figure out your points per license. Ours now is about 25,000. That helped the situation as well, as far as points go, right? And I mean, this made a difference with our points that I didn't even mention in this or the talk. Here's, bonus material is our production went up almost 35%. I think it was 34 or 33% growth to almost 1 million points. And that's why we're going for CEO this year, because we know exactly the number that we need to hit here to get there. And it's just exciting. It's just exciting to feel the momentum, but put the numbers in and say, okay, how many licenses do I need at my current licensing ratio? And what can I do to increase that licensing ratio? And I hope and pray that this message was delivered that way, that my message from the stage was delivered that way, that I love helping people. That's why I got into this business. You may be watching this. I don't even know you yet. But if this can help you so that in turn we can help more people, that is the prayer. So thank you. Look forward to seeing you at this convention. Even though you're watching this after the convention, I'm on my way to the convention tomorrow. So thank you very much. Hope to talk to you in person.